You have probably heard it many times over. Accept the things I cannot change. Have courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. This is the serenity prayer that most people are familiar with. This is really about your personal power and how to maintain it. Your personal power is where your focus and attention goes. When we have a challenge or a problem, oftentimes we just get stuck looking at it. Our mind will begin looping and looping and struggling to find a solution and struggling to see outside of that challenge. So then we find it difficult to pull our mind away from what it is that it's looking at. It really takes a lot of effort to pull it away from what it's focused on and redirect it. So, what are some things that you can do to redirect your attention? So, if you look at it like this, have you ever seen a child with a favorite toy? And that toy can be dirty and broken and old, and you can try to even give the child a new toy, but every time they want the old one. That's their favorite toy. That's what they're familiar with, and that's what they're comfortable with. They have at some point created a connection to it. And so it's very difficult to change a child's mind away from that favorite toy, regardless of how many brand new toys you present to it. The mind can be akin to being very much like a child. It likes what it's familiar with. That's what it feels safe. It has developed an emotional connection. Solutions are the unknown. When we are working towards developing a solution, we don't always know if it's going to work. So it's unfamiliar territory. The mind does not like unfamiliar territory. So when we put our effort into something that we don't know is going to work, it creates fear. The mind thinks, what if I put all of my time and energy into a solution and it fails? And the mind gets stuck in a landscape of a lot of what ifs. So just like you might need to throw away an old, broken, and now dangerous kid's toy, you also have to shut off the focus of your problems sometimes. It doesn't mean that you're ignoring your problems, but you are tabling them for a amount of time so that your mind can refocus and begin to process new solutions without even trying. Pulling it away from what it's looking at gives it a whole new environment to begin cultivating ideas. When you refocus your attention, especially if you turn it towards something that's preferable, something you enjoy, let's say, instead of focusing on some bills or whatever that situation is, you turn your attention towards drawing, painting, listening to music, dancing, laughing, even watch a comedy, anything that pulls the mind completely out of that environment. Now you've given it a whole new set of parameters to begin developing solutions on its own without even consciously trying. Now, I know it's not easy, especially if you have a very big challenge in front of you. I know it can be very difficult to not fully invest in it and identify with that challenge, but it's not going to be helpful to do that. So you have to practice time after time when something's presented to you, just completely pull your focus away, even if it's just for 15 minutes. And I know that not every challenge can be dealt with in that way, but as often as you can, try your best. It really throws a curveball to the mind and it has to start developing new techniques and strategies. And I know it sounds like I speak of the mind as a separate entity from the self, but in a lot of ways it is. It has functioning capability that most people don't fully understand unless they've been spending time observing their own mind and how it works. The idea is to pull your mind away from being the subject of the challenge. You want your mind to develop the ability to be the observer. As the observer, you can look down on a situation and bring higher solutions to it because you're no longer identified with it. It's a lot like when you're talking to a friend
It's easy to help them develop solutions because you're not fully invested in their challenge. It's easier as an observer to find those solutions. But it's not always best to get that outside solution. Really, the individual that is within the challenge has the best solution within them. It's really best if you can find it within yourself when you can. And sometimes we do need help. But if you can develop these skills within yourself, then you can find the best solution for you based on your own individual needs. And you can find these skills and techniques to be helpful in every part of your life. So let's say you watch a lot of reality TV or news. You'll notice that your conversations and the context of your relationships will develop and identify with those types of situations. You'll find that you are speaking more about dramatics or conflict. You'll hear yourself reverting to those type of subject matters. Whereas if you surround yourself with empowering ideas, creative outlets, and inspiring media, you'll also find yourself gravitating to those types of conversations. Those are the concepts and ideas that your mind will identify with. And your mind is just going to always identify with whatever its environment is. So it's really important to choose that environment wisely. And just like you would choose the best for your child. So you should also see your mind as a child to protect it, empower it, and give it every advantage possible. Because if you don't, well, nobody else will.